welcome to my channel. If you don't know me, I'm Jules. I'm 25 years old and I make content surrounding personal finance, lifestyle, travel, and beauty. If you enjoy this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more content from me. I think I'll just jump straight into it, but I've been thinking a lot about turning 25. My actual birthday is tomorrow, and so I feel like I'm getting to that big girl age. Like, my frontal lobe is developed now, basically. I just have a lot of thoughts surrounding turning 25 that I really wanted to talk about and share, because I've just been doing a lot of thinking on like life and where I'm at this age, and I have a few talking points that I want to bring up. Let's just jump right into it. The first topic I wanted to talk about is feeling lost or feeling behind in life and just not being where you expected to be from like your 10-year-old version. I think a lot of us can say that we were 10 and thought we were gonna get married at like 25 and have a kid at like 26. We were not expecting, one, cost of living crisis to like happen when we were becoming young adults, and two, that just our timeline is so different from our parents. I know that this is also different across different countries, even within the state. I live in California. The age to get married and have kids is probably in the 30s, but I know for like the Midwest or the South, this could be like a lot younger, 18 even, like 22 usually after you graduate. I know that that's still a thing in a lot of regions. It just depends on the norm for getting married and having kids, but I think that our timeline for those kind of things is just pushed back because of cost of living. We can't afford the same things that our parents did because houses don't cost 2 strawberries now, you know what I mean? So I think we have to like come to that realization and like acceptance that the ideal version of timelines that we were gonna have in our heads is different from reality, and also that are these even realities that we want? Like, is getting married something you want? Is having kids? Because I feel like there's this societal push or expectations for you to go through like the pipeline of life, right? Be born, go to school at age 4 or 5, graduate high school, go to college, graduate at 22 on time, not a semester late, or you'll seem a failure, or you'll be treated like a failure, and get a 9 to 5, get married, have kids. Then once you are working for 40 years, then you retire, and then you have your own time until you die. Like, I just feel like we're pushed a certain narrative and a certain story for ourselves that I think a lot of my generation, like me included, are asking or like questioning ourselves. Is this something I actually want, or was this something that was pushed onto us? While I think I still do agree on some of those narratives, like I definitely still want to get married. I think I want kids. I don't want kids anytime soon. I just don't want to put pressure on myself to tick off things. And I think a lot of us are asking ourselves this, are questioning if we want to tick off these things. I think something that is non-traditional that I've been questioning a lot is the idea of freedom, in the sense that our careers, do I want to have a 9 to 5 for 40 years and then retire and then travel the world, or do whatever I want with my time in retirement? Who knows if I'll even make it to retirement age. Right now retirement is at 65, but by the time I get to 65, which is literally 40 years from now, that age could go up to 75 by the time I get to that age. So it's like, do I want to wait my entire life, and when I'm old and maybe can't move as swiftly or fluidly, to do all these things and to travel and all that? I definitely feel like I have been questioning my path and timelines, and I just think that is something a lot of us also question. I recently came across the idea or concept of mini retirements, and if you haven't heard what a mini retirement is, it's basically a sabbatical where you can take off however much time you want in between your careers. So for me personally, an ideal world would be to take off maybe a year of work in my early 30s and stack up that money so that I can take a year off and travel in my early 30s, maybe before I get married and have kids. And then also, if and when I do have kids one day, I would definitely want to take off at least a year to get into like motherhood and not have to stress about taking care of a newborn and also working. And so I've just come to the realization of that maybe breaks in your career is also a good thing, and taking off time, if you are able to and have the means to do that, is something that I've really been thinking about and that I think I would definitely would want want to do within my career. And then 2, do I even want a 9 to 5 for 40 years? I've definitely been trying to do other side hustles right now. So like I'm doing freelance copywriting just for some extra cash and also to build up my portfolio and my work skills. But also I don't really like the 9 to 5 culture, and I'm privileged in that I just started a new job which is remote, and so the 2 big things that I want in life are time and location freedom. And so it's like at least I have that. I have location freedom, which is a huge thing, and I'm very privileged and grateful that I at least have one of those things. But I'm still confined to that 9 to 5, to reporting every day to a manager and to not being fully in control of my own time, which I have like a lot of mental struggle with. And so I've been just asking myself, where do I want my future to look? I think right now I'm in a blessed position. I want to have a 9 to 5 right now. It pays bills and it's getting me closer to my goals. I can also learn more about marketing, for example, because that's where I work in, and add to my personal skill set and my portfolio, and will also obviously giving my experience and expertise to the company. But I've just been questioning that a lot. I think this all ties into also just worrying about the future and not being in the present, especially when it comes to like social media use and everything too. I feel like I'm just constantly thinking about and trying to be in the future instead of the present. For example, in the springtime or early summer, I was like, wow, my birthday's coming up, this is gonna be so much fun, I'm gonna do this and that. And then now it's like my birthday is literally tomorrow, and then I'm looking to like, the holiday time and getting excited for fall and like all the fall decor and the things that you could do, pumpkin patches, all that. And it's like I feel like I'm just constantly looking for the next thing and not being present. And this is something I need to work on because I just feel like I'm never fully there. In that, I also think that in our 20s we're trying to do it all. Like we're trying to plan for our future, and we're trying to figure out career we want to take, any side hustles that we want to do. Do we want to also still try and have a social life and maybe wanting to travel? Like, we're like baby adults. We're newborn adults because we're not a kid anymore. We're not a teenager at this point. Graduated college, so we're like in the quote-unquote real world. Like we have our jobs, but we're also not experienced enough in adulthood where we know how adulthood really works. Like we're just figuring out adulthood for the first time. We're figuring out how to pay bills for the first time, what a due date and a statement date is for our credit cards. Like we're learning all these different things about adulthood that we're just learning for the first time. And I think we're really just trying to do it all in our 20s and figure out what life path you want to go down. And so I feel like in our 20s we try to do it all, try to figure it out. That way we're like quote-unquote set in our 30s and 40s and beyond. I feel like that just contributes to me not being in the present and me always like looking to the future to figure out how that's gonna look. Another thing I wanted to touch on is just feeling and emotions. This is something I've always struggled with because I never grew up being able to feel my feelings or feel my emotions. It was always not talking about it, not addressing it, sweeping it under the rug. This is something as an adult I'm trying to figure out how to be more emotionally intelligent, how to be more empathetic, how to really listen and observe, not only within others but also myself, because like I said, this wasn't something I was ever taught. Communication as well, and so I'm finding it's a bit difficult for me in that figuring out what makes me feel good, what makes me feel bad, what's neutral, and even within that recognizing within my body how I feel as well. So like for example, paying attention to music that makes me feel good. For me, I really enjoy beachy, chill vibe music. Literally I could put on my beach playlist and I'll be in an instantly good mood. When I listen to sad music, then I get a little bit sad. So it's like being aware of triggers or things that make you feel a certain emotion. And I think music is a good representation of being able to make you feel certain feelings. And also along with that, food is another one that I've always used as like a comfort and used as trying to be in a state of comfort. And this is something that I've had to work on a lot because I've always struggled with my weight and have been yo-yo dieting and bigger some years, and I lost a lot of weight and then I gained it all and now I lost it all again. And so that having to do with my relationship with food and how I feel about food. For example, I love spicy chips, I love Takis, but my body just doesn't feel good when I eat it. And so this is something that I've recognized recently. Every time I eat it or eat certain foods, like, I I don't feel good. Emotionally and like maybe even mentally, I'll be like, wow, this was really good. Then my body feels sluggish, I feel tired, I feel bloated, and it's just not good. Whereas I've recognized recently that obviously more whole foods, while mentally might not be as stimulating or taste as good, my body will feel light, it will feel nourished, it will feel energized. And so I'm trying to work on really being in tune with my mind and body of how I feel when I consume music, when I consume food, when I consume these different TV shows and movies and podcasts. I think that we just have to be more aware of our mind and bodies when it comes to the things we're consuming, because I feel like a lot of us, especially nowadays, are just on autopilot and we do a lot of things without truly thinking about how we're feeling and how our bodies are feeling. And so that is definitely something that I've been trying to work on, and that kind of goes hand in hand also with being more present in your mind and your body, which is obviously something I'm trying to work on because, like I said, I'm very future oriented, so I want to come back to the future. And I think that's one thing that's really helped me come back to the present, is just feeling how I'm feeling, if that makes any sense. And then something else I wanted to talk about is just social media. And am I the only one? I just feel like social media has obviously changed a lot, but especially recently, like I've been having a more hard time looking at anything related to social media. And so I've also been trying to create more than I consume when it comes to social media. So like posting these YouTube videos, things like that, and also just being more busy throughout my day. That way it's like I don't even have really much time to scroll. But I just think that social media has changed a lot in the landscape of not only the content, but also in the ways in which we are consuming content and the narrative or the trends around social media. And this is stuff that I've even seen videos being made about, of like Instagram face. Everybody's trying to look the same, copy paste, and how there's no unique features that make people beautiful nowadays because people just want to have that copy paste look. And I think it really has to do with also the idea of like perfection and us trying to achieve more and more perfection in how we look, and also the fact that we're more obsessed in looking at ourselves more and more as the years have gone on versus like previous generations. And I don't know, I think it's just affecting a lot of people. It's affecting not only like the influencers and people in the space who are doing these things and changing their appearance, but also the message that's being sent out about it. I'm just wondering where it's going to lead to next. Like, are we going to continue to go down the path of perfection where we just keep wanting to be even more perfect? No more scars, no more textures to the max? Or is there going to be some sort of counterculture? In a few years, everybody's going to want to be unique again. My thoughts is that everything is cyclical in that sense of, I think we're probably going to go down the path of a few more years of perfectionism to the point where people just get fed up. Like, it's just exhausting at a certain point to portray something that you're not, or trying to achieve perfection when that's never going to be possible. And so I think eventually people are going to get fed up, and also people are just going to want to be unique again because that's how people are going to stand out in a place where everybody looks the same, you know? So I think there definitely is going to be that counterculture and people are going to try to be unique again. I mean, look, even the small trend of people being like, thank God I didn't get a nose job because my Roman nose is pretty. And then people who had nose jobs making videos of like, wow, I wish you could see my Roman nose again. Like, I don't know, stuff like that. It's just a lot. And even going back to social media, I feel like there's also started to become a wave of counterculture even with social media and phone usage. All of a sudden I'm seeing so many people go and get flip phones, obviously like still having their iPhones or smartphones, but also having a second phone that's literally just a flip phone and using it for like their close friends and families, or only bringing it out, not their phones, if they want to, you know, escape social media and that part of it and just be in the present. And so I already started to see a wave of counterculture when it comes to phone usage, and I'm wondering where this is gonna go, because it'll be hard to create a massive trend on using a flip phone if you can't bring it online easily, because that's the easiest way for someone like me to get my message out. I can't just like go to the magazine and be like, post this, you know what I mean? I think that there'll be a wave of people having these flip phones but also just sharing it on social media with their regular phone, you know what I mean? but I'm interested to see where that goes. I kind of like it because I think the concept of like a Barbie phone, like a Barbie flip phone, is gonna come back, especially for the girlies. I love that because I've always wanted a Barbie phone, but I definitely think that's gonna be a trend that comes up within the next year. There's so many more topics that as I'm getting older, I'm trying to figure out like where I want to live long term isn't its own thing that I want to talk about and like could talk about forever and touch on. But I've lived in the US my entire life. After traveling the world and seeing what else is out there, I'm just like, the US is great in so many ways, and I'm so blessed and like privileged to have grown up. I see all these like British people or Europeans or whatever talk about going to America and trying to see like the yellow school bus and Friday night football games and cheerleaders and prom, and I think that from that perspective it's like great that I was able to experience that. Literally an American high school movie is what I lived through, but I just think for my future I'm not sure that living in the US is right for me. I just don't want to participate in hustle culture for my entire life. Right now I feel like I am, because like I mentioned earlier, I think in our 20s we're trying to figure out what we want to do and we're trying to do it all, and so I feel like I am participating in that, but I don't want to participate that in my entire life. I've seen a lot of people older than me in their 40s, 50s who are in corporate America and still participating in the hustle culture. Just how much sacrifice and like family time that you have to give up in order to do that, and just all the benefits that you just don't get living in America when it comes to career, because we're so career oriented, and I don't want to live for work. I want to work to live. I just don't think that's something I can achieve here or that I'd want to achieve here. I think that the US is great in a lot of areas, but I just think for overall work-life balance, well-being, this is somewhere I'd want to be long term. Look at food quality alone compared to the rest of the world, it's just insane. It's like, am I even gonna get to an old age with these red 40s that I'm eating all the time? You know what I mean? So obviously you can change your diet and be more whole foods, but it's like I feel like America is just lacking in a lot of ways that benefit its people, its individuals, whereas I feel like it just America benefits businesses, not people, whereas I think other Western countries benefit its people a lot more than America does. Also, I think getting into my 20s has also shown me how individualistic America is and how there's such a big lack of community here. I know social media has just exemplified that, but we are literally the most hyper individualistic country in the world. There's like no questions about that. We are. I'm just having such a hard time with that because I want community. I want to have relationships. The number one predictor of having a long life is having friends, family, community that you can support each other and have each other's back. And I just think that our generation, millennials, Gen Z, and all the generations to come are just gonna have a way shorter lifespan because we're just so individualistic. It's so hard to find community here, and people, they put themselves first. They only care about themselves. And granted, like, I'm not saying I'm perfect. I definitely do this stuff more than I would like, but I just think in other cultures there's a more emphasis on family, friends, relationships than in the US, and so that's a really big reason too as to why I struggle with the culture now in America, especially as an adult. Those are things that I value, whereas I just don't think that I'm getting that living here, especially seeing how other countries are and how they value those aspects of life more. Yeah, those are just some thoughts that I wanted to share and that I feel like I'm having as I'm getting older, as I'm turning 25, last day of being 24. And so yeah, I just think these are thoughts that are sitting with me and things that I'm constantly reevaluating my opinion on and how I see myself growing. But yeah, let me know if these are some topics that you've also thought about, or if there's any topics that have been heavy on your mind that you want to share with me. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts and what kind of opinions that you have about this topic and maybe any others that I didn't share. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you want to see more from me. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.